My heart ached with a pain I hadn't known was possible. I chased Charlie for 5 years, and he agreed to marry me. 2 months before the wedding, I got into a car accident. I called him 3 times, but he hung up on me each time because his junior sister suggested he ignore me for a while to make me stop bothering him. When I crawled out of the ditch, my whole body was injured, and my right hand was fractured. At that moment, I finally understood that some things cannot be forced. However, he started standing outside my door every day with red eyes, asking me to give him 5 more years. Chapter 1. When I was brought into the hospital, my clothes were torn, and I was covered in injuries. The doctor sighed and said that if I had arrived a few hours earlier, there might have been hope for my right hand. A few hours earlier. Numbly, I stared at the hospital ceiling, listening to the doctor's diagnosis: crushed fracture in my right hand, with little hope of recovery. Maybe I won't be able to draw anymore. Tears streamed down my face as a sense of despair engulfed me. Why can't I learn to give up? What is he doing right now? Perhaps he opened a bottle of red wine last night to celebrate the fact that I didn't bother him. Or maybe he is practicing the piano with his junior sister, enjoying intimate moments together. I laughed at myself, knowing that I would no longer be an obstacle between them. My phone rang, and it was Charlie. I slowly closed my eyes. This time, I should learn. Charlie barged into my hospital room, his clothes without a single wrinkle. He frowned at me, cold and aloof, like a superior deity reproaching me. What kind of trick are you playing? Why didn't you answer the phone? Look at yourself in this state just because I didn't pick up your call yesterday? I told you I was busy. Can't you understand? He stabbed my bleeding wounds once again. In that instant, my heart, which had died, cried out in pain once more. He passed judgment on me without even asking a single question. Even though I lay here battered and injured, I couldn't stir up any emotions in his heart. After all, he was the person I had loved for 5 years. With just a few words, he could evoke all my emotions. I looked at him sorrowfully, unable to find the words. Tears filled my eyes, a plea mixed with grief. The white walls reflected his indifference, while the scent of disinfectant mocked my feeble attempts. He probably hadn't seen me like this before, feeling a bit uncomfortable. Take good care of your injuries. Remember to participate in the National Art Design Competition next week. I need to go back to training, he added. This piano competition is important to me. Don't disturb me during this time. After saying that, he turned and left without looking back, never once asking about my condition. I watched his hurried figure as he left, feeling a chill run through my body. I couldn't utter a word. This was the boy I had been chasing for 5 years. Tears uncontrollably streamed down my face. I used to naively believe that it was my sincerity and passion that touched him, causing him to turn back. The piano competition was important to him, his junior sister was important to him, his friends were important to him. Then what was I? I once believed that everything would be rewarded, just like my persistence in art. But reality dealt me a heavy blow. Not everything that we hold on to will have a beautiful ending. My genuine feelings meant nothing to him. So why did he promise me? Why did he give me hope again? The sun set, and I curled up in bed, trembling all over, as if I had returned to that night I was trapped alone in the car. Unconscious for who knows how long, I despaired, thinking I was going to die. Before losing consciousness, I made a phone call. He was the first person I thought of. But even after being unconscious for a whole night, I didn't receive any rescue. Perhaps I was wrong from the beginning. It was ultimately my insistence, just like my artistic career. Some things are not meant to be. After 5 days of treatment, my body recovered, except for my hand. The doctor suggested that I go abroad for treatment. I smiled bitterly. Where would I get the money? I walked out of the hospital and returned to my rented room, a narrow space filled with paintings. 5 years ago, at the graduation party, I fell in love with him at first sight. Since then, his figure appeared in all my artworks. The room was filled with paintings related to him. It seemed like I had been living in his world all these years, losing myself. Chapter 2: The overwhelming suppression of emotions made me feel suffocated. I looked at the room filled with paintings depicting his figure and screamed out loud as my emotions burst. At that moment, I randomly tore pieces of paper and stomped on them, crazily ripping apart meticulously drawn artworks. The room was a mess, serving as an outlet for my emotions. I sat on the floor and cried out in pain. It was all ruined, everything was ruined. There was one more painting, my favorite one, framed on the wall, but I had overlooked it. It was the painting I made when I first saw Charlie. Trembling, I reached out my hands, wanting to touch it, but it felt as if I was being electrocuted. Tears streamed down my face, and I remained frozen in place. In reality, I'm not as strong as I imagined. 3 days later, Charlie found me at the art exhibition. He angrily questioned me, his eyes seemingly ready to spew fire. Why didn't you participate in the competition? Do you know that you had the best chance of winning? Do you understand how important this competition is? If you want to throw a tantrum, at least consider the occasion. A series of questions struck my already numb heart. In that moment, I had so many things I wanted to ask him, but they condensed into one sentence: "Oh, congratulations on winning." Charlie's expression softened slightly. "So you watched the competition? Why didn't I see you that day? You left so early without waiting for me." I didn't go. I guess with his talent, winning the competition would have been a piece of cake for him. I pointed at the paintings all over the room and asked softly, "Do you find these paintings beautiful?" My eyes were filled with pity. This art exhibition was probably the last time I would bring out my past artworks. I quietly watched the crowd passing by, occasionally stopping in front of a painting, admiring the artist's artistry. There was one of my paintings among them. Charlie rubbed his temples and held my hand. "Summer, I've been busy the past couple of days and neglected you, but you also know how important this competition is to me. Dress up tonight and accompany me to the gathering." "I don't have time." I looked at him calmly. "Charlie, let's break up." He laughed as if he heard a joke. "Break up?" Then he spoke gently, "Summer, be good. After tonight's event, I'll be there for you." I tilted my head and thought for a moment. "No, it's not good. We're breaking up." He took a step forward, imagining countless times how he would embrace me gently in his arms and comfort me. But in that moment when he touched me, I pushed him away and let out a fierce scream. The whole room was drawn to my voice. The fragile balance I had maintained was unexpectedly shattered. I crouched down, holding my head as intense emotions surged through my brain once again: resentment, unwillingness, pain, disappointment, despair. All the efforts and pursuits of my first half of life turned into nothingness in just one night. But I had a chance to be saved, didn't I? If only a few hours earlier, if only he had answered the phone, if only he had patiently listened to me. He froze instantly, standing still in disbelief, not daring to take a step forward. "Summer, it's me, it's me. What's wrong?" He looked lost, like a child, cautiously unaware of what had happened. It took great effort for me to control my emotions. I slowly walked out of the hall, with Charlie following behind. I turned my back to him and said, "I want some quiet." Back at home, I sat alone in the studio, sometimes feeling like laughing and sometimes feeling like crying. I thought I had become indifferent, but upon seeing Charlie, a strong sense of injustice engulfed my entire being. The room was brightly lit. During this time, I slept with the lights on. As soon as darkness fell, involuntary memories of that pitch-black night flooded back. The intense pain surged through my body, and the lifeline I tried to grasp ended up burying my artistic career. Chapter 3: I harbor resentment towards Charlie in my heart, but reason tells me that he has no obligation to save me, and I shouldn't blame him. But I can't control myself. He is my boyfriend. We had plans to get married. Even if he could have given me a few more seconds, allowed me to say something instead of abruptly ending the call because he was busy. Or perhaps that night, he could have called me when he realized I hadn't returned home. I never stayed out all night before. He knew where I went, I told him. I really did tell him. The scattered sheets of paper on the floor seem to mock my foolishness, and my presence feels like a joke. When I was young and learning to paint, nobody supported me. I walked alone, and I've gained some fame along the way. But it seems like fate played a cruel joke on me, blatantly telling me that these achievements, the happiness, were all temporary gifts. Now it's time to take them back. I throw all my art supplies into the trash bin, put my artworks in a bag, ready to throw them away tomorrow. In the middle of the night, I receive a message from a friend. Charlie announced our engagement at the banquet. He probably still doesn't know about my situation. How can someone who can no longer paint participate in a competition? He celebrated his own success at the banquet while also announcing his engagement without revealing the name of the bride. Everyone congratulated him, their eyes subtly shifting towards Iris by his side. The perfect couple, so well matched. I lie in my narrow rental apartment, surrounded by brokenness, with absurdity filling the pages. The next day, their names and videos appear on the trending list. Piano prodigy Charlie announces his impending marriage to Iris, the daughter of his teacher, beneath a chorus of congratulations. In the afternoon, Charlie showed up at my door. This should be his first time coming to my place. Coincidentally, I also planned to clear things up. I opened the door for him, and he looked around the empty room for a moment. Where are your paintings? I can't paint anymore. What kind of joke is this? What happened? Why did you block me? Charlie stared at me disapprovingly, as if reprimanding a disobedient child. Summer, stop being ridiculous. Our wedding is in a month. I know I've been neglecting you during this time, but you can't always act so immature. Pack up and come home with me. His indifference made it seem like this whole situation was just a comedy for him. I laughed, and as I laughed, tears started streaming down my face. Go home? Go to what home? Is it your home with Iris? You've already made it official on WEA. What am I supposed to do? He furrowed his brows, his gaze distant. I announced our engagement last night. I wanted to surprise you, but you weren't in a good condition, and the media misunderstood. It's my fault for not handling this properly. I've already asked someone to remove it from the hot search. This has nothing to do with Iris. She's also a victim. In every word, in between the lines, he was defending Iris and blaming my absence. Victim? Innocent? Then what am I? Just a joke? Tears streamed down my cheeks, and for the first time, he didn't show any signs of annoyance. Why didn't you answer my call that night? I did answer, didn't I? I was practicing the piano. You know how important that competition was to me. He sat on the couch, clearly annoyed. Why did you answer my call and then hang up? I confronted him. Can you stop making a scene? I told you I was practicing. You called 3 times in a row. His voice grew louder, and he suddenly realized his outburst. I'm sorry, Summer, it's my fault. Through my tears, I looked at him. Did Iris tell you not to answer my calls? Chapter 4. He furrowed his brows, wanting to reach out and wipe away my tears, but I dodged his hand. This has nothing to do with Iris. Can you please stop causing a scene? Would I intentionally call you 3 times if I didn't think you deliberately ignored me to save face in front of her? He started getting agitated. Summer, stop making a scene. Charlie, I watched the surveillance footage from that day. That day, he was practicing the piano when my call came in. Iris suggested that he hang up and continue practicing, making jokes about him being a henpecked husband. Although he answered my call, he didn't give me a chance to speak and simply hung up. That night, I didn't say good night to him as usual, and I didn't go home. He didn't notice anything out of the ordinary, or perhaps he did notice but didn't care. Even if he had a little bit of concern for me, would things have been different? He looked surprised. You actually watched the surveillance footage? Over such a small matter? A small matter? Yes, it was a small matter. That night I had a car accident on my way back home. I called you 3 times, and you hung up on me 3 times. I missed the best opportunity for treatment, and now I can't paint with my right hand anymore. Yes, it's a small matter, just a small matter. I laughed maniacally, trying to push all the blame onto him. Why didn't he answer that call? Why did he give me hope and then bring me despair? Marriage? I once thought he was someone I could trust for a lifetime, but I never expected that because of a stranger's words, he would hang up on me 3 times. I broke down in tears. From beginning to end, I was the outsider. His voice trembled slightly. Why didn't you tell me earlier? I looked into his eyes. Have you ever paid attention? How many times have you visited me at the hospital? Once. What was the first thing you noticed when you saw me? When did you realize that I had blocked you? A hint of panic appeared in his eyes as things spiraled out of his control. It was this morning, right? You didn't notice for the whole week. You never asked me once. A painter who can no longer pick up a brush, a pianist who can no longer play the piano. He knew the importance of hands to us. I flew towards him like a moth to a flame, unaware that it was an abyss that would destroy me. Silence spread between us, bitter tears flowing into my heart. I'll take you to receive the best treatment. There must still be hope. He paused for a moment, reaching out to grab me. There's no hope, Charlie. It's over. I couldn't see a glimmer of hope. In the future. I didn't know what life would be like from now on, but the life I had worked so hard for was all in vain. I had countless fantasies about painting, about Charlie. He was even in my paintings. In an instant, everything was destroyed. What do you mean by it's over? He asked anxiously. Everything. Let it all end, I said, closing my eyes in pain. No, our wedding is next month, he rejected it outright. You can replace me with Iris. We have a similar build. She should be more than willing, I said with self-mockery. It's already trending. We can't disappoint the internet users. His face turned pale, as if I had committed an unforgivable crime. It was truly laughable, wasn't it? Him who shut me out in the first place. Charlie, I have another question. Why did you agree to marry me? Don't say it's because you love me. My voice was filled with bitterness. He fell silent, and I didn't look up to see his expression. Chapter 5. I still went to his house with him. He said he could cure my hand. He took me to see many renowned doctors, but they all shook their heads. He started to accompany me frequently, discussing wedding details. Gradually, I stopped hoping. Iris wore a custom-made wedding dress, the style that Charlie showed me a few days ago. Her exquisite makeup and red nails showcased her vitality. She looked at me with arrogance. Summer, is this wedding dress beautiful? She calmly led me downstairs, walking around the house as if she were the true owner, while I was just an insignificant outsider. The nanny poured us 2 cups of tea. Iris, you and our young master are finally getting married. This wedding dress is so beautiful, personally chosen by the young master. It took a lot of thought. Iris smiled and asked them to leave. Summer, I wanted to talk to you today. She put down her cup and settled comfortably on the couch. Summer, during that time, Charlie was busy training, and I silently stayed by his side. He didn't have time to deal with you, and you were clinging to him. I suggested that he shouldn't answer your calls. After all, it wasn't anything important. I awkwardly laughed, sitting on the couch in my cramped white dress, like a guest. You should know that my father is Charlie's teacher. I can bring support to Charlie, and now you are just a burden to him. Before, Charlie was more playful, and I didn't say anything, but now that our two families are getting married, it would be better for you to leave. I don't want to see you on that day. She had a smile on her face, with elegant demeanor and graceful speech. I had a pale complexion and couldn't refute what she said. Iris, don't worry, I will leave, and please take good care of Charlie. Don't let him bother me anymore. Iris's face changed, and she chuckled softly. Leave this place. Find somewhere else to live. The car accident that day must have left a deep impression on Summer. Charlie and I have known each other since childhood. You shouldn't compete with me for Charlie. I looked at her in disbelief. Did you do it? She nodded slightly, looking at me contemptuously. What is Summer saying? I don't understand. I went crazy and pushed her to the ground, fighting with her from inside the house to the doorstep. Suddenly, she opened the door, and the journalists outside captured my disheveled state, while Iris stood there in her wedding dress. Charlie's brother accused me. You shameless woman, why are you still clinging to Charlie? In that moment, I collapsed. I ran away from the scene like a mad person. A new search term emerged: third party interferes in Charlie and Iris's relationship. Third party jealous gets into a fight with Iris. No one believed me, and no one would defend me, not even Charlie. Everyone thought they were a perfect match made in heaven. What am I? I walked on the road with nowhere to go when Adam brought me home. I had a high fever. Adam is my senior, and my teacher is currently abroad. He took care of me throughout the night. Summer, why didn't you tell me about such a big incident? I couldn't find you these past few days. He tried to speak to me in a gentle tone, but there was a hint of anger in his voice. I collapsed in his arms and cried, pouring out all the grievances inside me. He comforted me, saying that it's all in the past. For the following period of time, I stayed at his house, and he took care of me meticulously. We didn't mention the past, maintaining a delicate balance between us. Chapter 6. Under his careful care, my emotions gradually stabilized. It felt like going back to the beginning with him, painting in the studio while I quietly read by his side. It was a peaceful time. He cooked different meals for me every day and patiently stayed by my side. I felt like I was slowly coming out of my shell. I don't know how Charlie managed to find me. He sneered at me. So you found a new lover so quickly? All my hard work to clean up your mess was for nothing. I panicked and tried to call Adam, but he knocked the phone out of my hand. Summer, are you too afraid to face me now? He looked at me angrily, his eyes burning with fire, as if I had betrayed him. Charlie's gaze remained fixed on me. Summer, our wedding is next week. I've taken care of everything from your past. Now come back with me. His condescending attitude made me feel like a lowly, self-respectless plaything. He expected me to obediently return at his beck and call. I looked at him in despair. He hadn't changed at all. It was my own misjudgment that led to my downfall. He approached step by step, and I retreated, my back against the wall. I humbly knelt on the ground. Charlie, it's my fault. You are a bigger person, please spare me. I wish you and Iris a lifetime of happiness. I won't disturb you anymore. He looked at me in astonishment. Summer, what are you saying? Charlie's body trembled, and he leaned against the wall, looking at me on the floor. I've already resolved the situation with Iris. It was her who secretly tried on the wedding dress, and I asked her to do it for you. I wanted her to take care of you. I've handled the false rumors, and no one will bother you again. Tears fell from my eyes, drop by drop onto the ground. Charlie, please let me go. It was my momentary foolishness. I've already lost my right hand. I can't paint anymore. I have nothing left. Can't you just leave me alone? I couldn't believe it. This time it was my hand. What would be next? My life? I'm just an ordinary person who wants to live quietly. Charlie took a step forward, trying to approach me. Don't come any closer. Iris, she will kill me. He looked at me in confusion, lost, his trembling hands revealing his inner turmoil. What does this have to do with Iris? We're just siblings in our martial arts school. A hint of fear appeared in his expression, realizing that the situation had slipped out of his control. No, the truth is, it had never been within his control. For the first time, I heard him pleading. Summer, our wedding is next week. I've meticulously planned everything. Please come back with me. Our wedding? I had imagined it countless times, but now it had nothing to do with me. I couldn't be willful anymore. I begged him, please let me go. He stood frozen in place, unbelievably looking at me, never expecting that I would refuse him. Summer, what are you saying? You pursued me for 5 years, and now that you have me, you don't want me anymore? His eyes welled up, questioning me as if I were the heartless one. I can't anymore. I shook my head. I have nothing left. I don't want to die. Charlie is marrying me equivalent to death for you? He grabbed my arm, his voice sharp. Yes, no. Iris will kill me. She really will. If you marry her, please spare me. I was already on the verge of a mental breakdown. I hugged myself, hiding in the corner, thinking that this would keep me safe. Phone call. You pursued me for 5 years. Now let me pursue you. Give me a chance, Summer. I'll be waiting for you at the wedding venue. If you don't come, I won't get married. I've decided on you for the rest of my life. After saying that, he left, not giving me a chance to refuse. Adam opened the gift box, and inside was a wedding dress, the same style that Iris wore that day. He glanced at me and threw the wedding dress away, making sure to confirm with me, "You're not really considering going, right? Please don't go." He looked at himself in the mirror. Your senior brother looks pretty good, right? Why are you so fixated on that guy? Not forgetting to shout downstairs to Charlie, who hadn't gone far yet, "Brother, since you have no brains, I won't blame you. I'll give you a big gift for your wedding in 2 days." On the day of the wedding, my senior brother dressed up and asked me to do the same. I looked at him in surprise. The other day, you said you would give him a big gift. You're not planning to send me, are you? My senior brother immediately got defensive. How could I possibly send you to that guy? I'm taking you to watch a good show. The thing I asked you to investigate has made progress. I found evidence. Trust your senior brother. Chapter 8. Under his persuasion, I was successfully persuaded to go out with him. He drove me to Charlie's wedding, and I began to feel more and more like I had been deceived. At the wedding venue, Charlie and Iris's names were displayed along with their photos. I felt nauseous. Adam asked me to wait a little longer, saying he had a big gift for me. What kind of gift? To watch their wedding? The guests had already entered, and there were several reporters outside. Iris, wearing a wedding dress, slowly stepped out of the car, still in the same style as that day. Iris's father and Charlie's parents were all present. Charlie stood at the wedding venue, anxiously waiting for the bride's arrival. The wedding march began, and the audience below offered their sincere blessings. Until Charlie saw Iris's face under the veil, his expression changed drastically. His parents glared at him threateningly, and Charlie's father quietly reminded him not to embarrass everyone present. Charlie's face turned pale, and the audience below noticed something was off with the groom. He stood on the stage like a puppet on strings, mechanically staring at Iris with cold eyes. Iris looked at him with a shy expression. Even though this man in front of her didn't love her, at least she had him, and she had plenty of time in the future. Adam stepped out of the car and waved at Charlie. Charlie looked at him and quickly realized I was also nearby. He abandoned Iris standing on the stage, snatched the microphone from the host, and shouted at me, "Summer, I love you." Give me another chance. Marry me. In an instant, everyone's gaze turned towards us. Charlie dropped the microphone and ran towards me. Charlie's father stood up, looking disappointed at his most promising student. Charlie's parents called out to him as well. Charlie, what are you doing? This is your wedding with Iris. Charlie slowly stopped in his tracks, while his mother followed behind with an apologetic smile to everyone. I silently watched him through the car window. He couldn't see me, but he could feel that I must be there. Adam gently said to Charlie, "You coward. You're not worthy of Summer's efforts." Adam took my hand and walked confidently towards the wedding venue. Charlie's father's expression instantly changed. "Sir, you're not welcome here." "It's all right. We're not here to attend the wedding," Adam responded with a smile. The reporters immediately aimed their cameras at me. I felt a bit scared and leaned closer to Adam. A recording started playing on the wedding big screen. I found out everything. Tonight, Summer will take that road back to her grandmother's house. It's a difficult path through the mountain valley. I've installed a tracker in her car. You wait on that road and take care of her for me. Iris, don't worry, we're professional. After it's done, remember to retrieve the tracker. Don't worry, Iris, after it's done, I'll give you 100,000. Leave this place and hide for a while. The voice abruptly stopped as someone disconnected the wires. Just that short recording was enough to shock everyone present. Moreover, there were many guests present today, and anyone could recognize that it was Iris's voice. Iris's father was so angry that he slapped her right there. Iris, wearing her bridal gown, knelt on the ground and burst into tears, vehemently denying that it was her. Police sirens blared, and Iris was taken away on the spot. Our dream wedding turned into a joke. Charlie lowered his head and, under the astonished gazes of people, picked up the nearby hammer and angrily smashed it onto his right hand. Tears streamed down his face as he looked at me in pain. "Summer, can I offer my right hand as an apology to you? Can you come back, Summer? I'm sorry. I didn't know. It's my fault for causing you so much harm." He knelt on the ground, crying uncontrollably, yet unable to take another step forward. His mother threw herself onto him, weeping, while his teacher couldn't bear the blow and fainted on the spot. Adam took me away from there. I started painting at the age of 6, and at 20, I was enchanted by Charlie's charm. 5 years of dedication all turned into a bubble. At this moment, he is no longer the young man in my heart, and I have lost the opportunity to paint. I can't quite remember why I was attracted to him in the first place. Perhaps it was that cannon, or maybe it was his impeccable suit. Did I love the real him, or the version of him I imagined? The evidence was clear, and Iris was convicted of intentional homicide. Charlie's right hand received timely medical treatment and was not severely damaged. Iris's father suffered consecutive blows and never recovered. He passed away a year later. Adam and I moved away from the city. After several years of rehabilitation training, I picked up the paintbrush once again. I created my proudest artwork to date, and I named it Illusion. Chapter 9, Extra 1, I Am Charlie. At the junior year party, I was invited to play a cannon. After it ended, a girl asked for my contact information. She was passionate, determined, and bold. There was a sparkle in her eyes when she looked at me. I fell for her and enjoyed her unconditional love. She made me understand what love is. I admired her freedom, her dedication. It seemed like she was always filled with motivation for the things she loved. But I was inferior. I was afraid of losing her attention, so I intentionally played games with her. After all, things that are too easily obtained are often taken for granted, right? I would deliberately neglect her, then give her a little sweetness. I wasn't the perfect image she imagined. I was just a despicable person. Absolutely, here's the continuation of the story from Charlie and Adam's perspectives, other for so long, and there was still some emotional connection between us. Gradually, I relaxed my guard. Iris found out about Summer's route from me. She suggested that I focus on practicing the piano and deal with any issues later. After all, once I won the championship, we could openly be together. Iris said that Summer was a bit arrogant and needed to be properly ignored in order to become more reliant on me. At first, I disagreed, but the more she said it, the more I believed it. That night, Summer called me 3 times. The consecutive days of training made me restless. Iris was right there, smiling at me, standing by my side as if confirming her words. For the first time, I told Summer that I was busy and hung up the phone. The second time, I told her not to bother me. The third time, I didn't answer the call. Later, I heard that Summer went to the hospital. Iris told me that it wasn't anything serious, so I took a quick look at the hospital. She seemed down, but I was under a lot of pressure too. I asked Iris to bring her some things for me. The competition was coming up next week, and I just wanted to get through this period. I performed normally and won the championship as I wished. I planned to officially announce my engagement to Summer at the celebration banquet. I found Summer and invited her to attend the banquet dressed up. I wanted to surprise her and didn't tell her in advance, but she refused, and I didn't know why. It pained me deep inside. That night, I still announced the engagement, but someone edited the news and posted it online, making everyone believe that it was Iris and me. Iris found me and cried, saying she didn't know either, accusing me of hurting her. Chapter 10. I quickly called Summer, only to discover that she had blocked me. I went to Summer's house. The empty and deserted house shocked me. That's when I found out that she had been in a car accident that night, resulting in a severe fracture in her right hand that couldn't be fully recovered. A tremendous panic engulfed me. It seemed like fate was playing a cruel joke on me. I thought there were no more obstacles between us, but now I realized that it was no longer possible for us. I brought Summer back home and sought out many doctors, but the chances were slim. I started diverting her attention and meticulously preparing for our wedding. I didn't want to lose her, especially when I was so close to having her. I personally took care of her, accompanied her, but there were times when I wasn't there. In the end, I still ended up causing harm to Summer. The day Summer left, I went crazy. I beat up the person who insulted her, publicly announced our relationship. I realized that protecting her quietly wasn't working. I needed to make it known to everyone that I couldn't be without her. But it seemed like Summer didn't want to turn back anymore. That's all right, maybe she just needs some time to think it through. After all, she had pursued me for so many years, now it was my turn to chase after her. I stood at the wedding venue, stubbornly waiting for Summer's arrival. A bride in a wedding gown slowly walked towards me, and my eyes lit up. But when I saw that it was Iris, my heart turned into ashes. Of course, why would Summer come? I looked at my parents, who assured me that Summer would come back and ask me to wait patiently. They had promised. My parents warned me, my teacher watched me, and the guests offered their blessings from all directions. It felt like I was carrying 1,000 pounds on my feet. But then I saw Adam, the man who had been by Summer's side, loudly shouting about my cowardice. Summer must have come. I ran towards her car. Summer was waiting for me, and I couldn't let her down. Strength returned to me, and I shouted, "Summer, I love you. I love you, Summer. I truly love you. I want to marry you. I want to give you a wedding. I can't imagine a life without you. You are like a beam of light that illuminates my life. Your freedom, your passion, your determination. You have no idea how wonderful you are." Adam looked at me and said something with a hint of dignity. Adam really gave me a big gift. After listening to the contents of the recording, my face turned pale, and I couldn't dare to look into Summer's eyes again. It was my fault that I hurt Summer. Iris was taken away on the spot, and the wedding that all 3 of us had anticipated became a joke. I smashed my own hand, wanting to apologize to Summer. I resented Iris, I resented my parents, but ultimately, it was my own fault. It was too late for everything. I could no longer find my light. Many years later, I ran into Summer and Adam at a restaurant. They were together. I borrowed the piano in the restaurant and played a canon. My skills had matured since the first time we met, but I lost the girl who was once everything to me. Extra 2 Adam's perspective. I am Adam, Summer Sr. I have a secret. I have secretly liked Summer all along, but she was too young. When Summer turned 21, she told me that she had fallen for a boy. The cabbage I had carefully nurtured was stolen by an outsider pig. I was heartbroken for a night and got drunk. Then I buried my feelings deep inside. Until something happened to Summer. I quickly returned to the country and found Summer on the street. I investigated the night of Summer's incident. It wasn't an accident, damn it. My initial compromise wasn't meant to let you all bully her. I mobilized all my connections in the country and finally found out the truth of the matter, and I presented this truth to everyone, getting justice for Summer. I took Summer away, encouraged her to seek treatment, encouraged her to pick up the paintbrush again. She had great talent. Her life shouldn't wither away like this. Of course, she is now my wife. I love Summer, and I hope she can live freely and happily, living the life she wants, blooming brilliantly like summer flowers. Mientras estaba en el trabajo, mi cunada cambió a mi golden retriever campeón por un perro de refugio. Ahora tu precioso cachorro está haciendo feliz a otra persona, ese río. Sonre. Interesante. Ella no tenía idea. Mi vida cambió durante la cena. Me senté en la enorme mesa de comedor de mis padres, moviendo distradamente la comida en mi plato mientras mi cunada Amanda parlaba sobre su último trabajo de caridad. Entonces, con una sonrisa maliciosa, una voz demasiado dulce dijo que la bomba. Oh, por cierto, dijo con los ojos brillando de satisfacción, tu precioso Max ahora está haciendo muy feliz a otra familia. Hizo una pausa, saboreando el momento. Lo leve un refugio hace 2 semanas y traje un reemplazo, pero ni siquiera te diste cuenta. El tender ese respiro de mis dedos, golpeando contra el plato. Max, mi golden retriever campeón, a quien había criado desde cachorro y que había ganado 3 competencias nacionales, reemplazado. Mi mirada cayó al perro que yacía debajo de la mesa a mis pies. Se parecía notablemente a Max, pero ahora que lo pensaba, su comportamiento había sido extraño. Dices que, mi voz era calmada, demasiado calmada, pero mis manos habían empezado a temblar. Amanda hizo un gesto de desdén con la mano. Y es lo mejor. Estabas obsesionada con esos ridículos concursos de perros. Ahora una familia merecedora tiene un hermoso perro de raza pura y tú tienes un rescatado que necesita amor. Ayuda a todos. Mire alrededor de la mesa. Mi hermano Tom miraba su plato. Mis padres se removieron incómodos, pero no dijeron nada. Su silencio no era nada nuevo. Siempre habían preferido mantener la paz antes que confrontar a Amanda. Interesante, dije, tomando un sorbo de agua lentamente. La sonrisa de Amanda vaciló ligeramente. Esperaba indignación, tal vez incluso lágrimas. Lo que no sabía, lo que ninguno de ellos sabía, era que Max lavaba un rastreador GPS. No uno obvio, sino un dispositivo elegante y de alta tecnología incrustado en su collar. Anos en el circuito de competencias de perros me habían enseñado a tomar precautions. No tenías derecho, dije en voz baja, alejandome de la mesa. Max no es solo una mascota, es mi compañero, mi negocio, mi amigo. Amanda puso los ojos en blanco. Oh, por favor, es solo un perro. Además, te hice un favor. Este circuito de competencias te estaba volviendo insoportable, siempre viajando, siempre entrenando. Ahora puedes disfrutar de tener una mascota normal. Mi pies de pi y sac mi telefono. Unos pocos toques abrieron la aplicación de rastreo GPS la ubicación de max aparicio de inmediato, a 30 mm de distancia. El historial de la aplicación mapeaba cada parada que había hecho en las últimas 2 semanas, incluido su tiempo en el refugio y la dirección de la familia que lo adoptó. ¿Dónde exactamente lo llevaste? Pregunt, aunque lo sabía. Al refugio Happy Tales en la Kingsley Street, dijo Amanda con autosuficiencia. La familia que lo adoptó era perfecta, 2 niños, un gran jardín, una madre que se queda en casa, mucho mejor que desperdiciar su vida saltando a tres de arroz por cintas. Tom finalmente habló. Amanda, tal vez debería saber. Oh, calate, Tom, lo interrumpió. Alguien tenía que hacer algo. Se estaba convirtiendo en una de esas locas de los perros. La ignor y mirar al perro impostor bajo la mesa. Sus ojos eran suaves, inseguros. Nada de esto era su culpa. ¿Cómo lograste hacer esto? Amanda se pavoneó. Lo encontré en otro refugio el mes pasado. El parecido era asombroso. Tomé la llave de tu casa, esperé que estuvieras en el trabajo, un perro fuera, otro dentro. Estabas demasiado ocupada para notar la diferencia. La forma casual en que admitió haber irrumpido en mi casa y robado a mi perro hizo que mi sangre hirviera, pero mantuve mi expresión neutral. Y Max simplemente así fue contigo. Bueno, al principio insistió, admitió, pero los premios hicieron su magia. Está bien, probablemente disfrutando la vida como un perro normal en lugar de tu pony de exhibición. Agar mis cosas, incluida la correa del impostor. Me voy. Mi gyre hacia Amanda. Deberías haber pensado mejor en esto. Ella rió. ¿Qué pensa? Ya está hecho. ¿Qué vas a hacer al respecto? No respondí. No necesitaba hacerlo. El camino a casa fue tenso. El perro de reemplazo, Charlie decidió llamarlo, se sentó en silencio en el asiento trasero. Lo primero que haría mañana sería revisar si tenía un microchip y rastrear su refugio original. Mauricio un hogar real, no ser usado como peón en el retorcido plan de Amanda. Tan pronto como llega casa, llama mi amiga Lisa, jueza de competencias caninas y abogada de derechos de los animales. His okay, la voz de Lisa prácticamente chisparoteó por el teléfono tengo pruebas, dije, mostrando los datos del GPS creo cada ubicación, cada parada, y además, Amanda admitió en la cena que robó la llave de mi casa para hacerlo. Lisa ya estaba escribiendo. Esto es un robo simple, y debido a. Los títulos de competencia y el estatus registrado de Max es un robo mayor en la mayoría de los estados. Lo recuperaremos, y cream, Amanda seva a arrepentir de haber tocado a tu perro. Mientras me preparaba para dormir, mi teléfono vibró con un mensaje de Amanda, ¿estás muy calada? Finalmente te diste cuenta de que te hice un favor. No respondí. ¿Qué creera que había ganado? Mañana estaría lleno de sorpresas. Charlie gimió suavemente desde la cama de Max le di una palmada en el lugar junto a mí, y dudó antes de saltar, acercándose a mi lado. No te preocupes, chico, murmur. Ya había contactado al refugio Happy Tales y estaba organizando nuestros próximos movimientos. El refugio está horrorizado, me dijo. Amanda afirmó que era tu representante autorizada, diciendo que estabas demasiado angustiada después de una muerte familiar para encargar de entregar a Max incluso falsificó tu firma. Apriet la mandíbula. Actualizando el rastreador GPS, Max seguía en la misma dirección en Oakwood. Necesitamos a la policía. Y lo manage, dijo Lisa. Present denuncias por robo y fraude. Dado el valor de Max como perro de exhibición y cimental registrado, lo están tomando en serios. Los oficiales nos encontraron en la casa. Mientras esperaba Elisa, decidí investigar el pasado de Charlie. Su placa de advertencia me llevó al refugio de animals Riverside. Una llamada confirmó mis peores sospechas. Sí, lo recordamos, dijo el gerente del refugio. Una mujer llamada Amanda Wilson lo adoptó hace 3 semanas. Solicito específicamente un golden retriever con marcas de calidad para exhibición. Algo está mal aquí. Lu explique la situación. El gerente estaba furioso. Eso es una violación de nuestro contrato de adopción. Necesitamos que nos lo devuelvan, a menos que quieras adoptarlo formalmente. Mira a Charlie, que me observaba con confianza silenciosa. Primero recuperar a mi perro, luego hablaremos. Lisa Lego con Kevin, un entrenador canino que había trabajado con Max en las competencias. Pens que podríamos necesitar refuerzos, dijo. El camino a Oakwood fue tenso. Un coche patrulla estaba esperando cuando nos detuvimos frente a una casa suburbana bien cuidada. Juguetes estaban esparcidos por el césped. Esto no era la guarida de un villano, era el hogar de una familia que probablemente no tenía idea de que su nuevo perro había sido robado. Mi corazón se apretó en mi pecho mientras observaba a 2 niños pequeños jugando en el jardín delantero. ¿Estás segura de que quieres hacer esto? Preguntó Lisa, poniendo una mano sobre mi hombro. Podríamos manejar esto de otra manera. No hay otra manera, respondí, mi voz firme a pesar del nudo en mi garganta. Max es mi perro, y Amanda necesita aprender que no puede simplemente tomar lo que quiera. Los oficiales se acercaron a la puerta principal mientras nosotros esperábamos en el auto. Vi como una mujer abría la puerta, su rostro pasando de la confusión al shock cuando los oficiales comenzaron a hablar. Y entonces los 6. Max su pelaje dorado brillando bajo el sol de la tarde, corriendo hacia la puerta para investigar el alboroto. Dios mío, susurró Lisa. Se ve bien cuidado. Era cierto. Max parecía saludable y feliz, lo cual solo hacía todo más difícil. La mujer comenzó a llorar mientras los oficiales le explicaban la situación. Sus hijos, notando que algo andaba mal, corrieron hacia ella. Señora Martínez, llamó uno de los oficiales, haciendo señas para que me acercara. Salí del auto con piernas temblorosas, Charlie siguiéndome fielmente. La mujer me miró, sus ojos llenos de lágrimas y confusión. No sabíamos, dijo inmediatamente. El refugio nos dijo que era una entrega legítima. Tenemos todos los papeles. Lo sé, respondí suavemente. No es su culpa. Mi cuñada, ella actuó sin mi conocimiento o consentimiento. Max me reconoció inmediatamente. Su cola comenzó a agitarse, y corrió hacia mí, casi derribándome en su entusiasmo. Charlie se mantuvo atrás, inseguro. Mamá, uno de los niños, no más de 6 años, tiraba del vestido de su madre. Van a lavarse Max. La pregunta hizo que mi estómago se revolviera. Estaba sufriendo por la crueldad de Amanda. Los niños comenzaron a llorar, y Max, siempre sensible, corrió de vuelta a ellos, lamiendo sus caras en un intento de consolarlos. Sarah, la mujer se presentó, limpiando sus lágrimas. Entiendo que es tu perro, y no pelearemos contra eso. Pero podrías darnos un momento para despedirnos? Mi mente trabajaba a toda velocidad. Amanda había querido lastimarme, pero en su arrogancia, había lastimado a esta familia inocente también. La furia que había estado conteniendo comenzó a transformarse en algo más frío y calculado. Tengo una propuesta, dije finalmente. ¿Podemos hablar adentro? Los siguientes 30 minutos cambiaron todo. Sarah y su esposo David eran personas increíbles. Él era profesor de primaria, ella trabajaba desde casa como diseñadora gráfica. Habían adoptado a Max porque sus hijos. Necesitaban un amigo después de mudarse a la ciudad. Max es un perro increíble, dijo David. Los niños lo adoran y el país tener un don natural con ellos. Es un campeón de exposiciones, explique, pero más que eso, es mi compañero. Sin embargo, mira a los niños que seguían abrazando a Max. Creo que podemos encontrar una solución que beneficie a todos. Excepto a Amanda. Lisa, que había estado escuchando en silencio, se inclinó hacia delante. ¿Qué tienes en mente? Una asociación, respondí, y la mejor venganza que podríamos planear. Mientras explicaba mi plan, six como los ojos de Sarah se iluminaban con comprensión. Amanda había querido destruir mi conexión con Max y humillarme en el preciso. En cambio, había creado una oportunidad para algo mucho más grande. Entonces aceptan, pregunté, extendiendo mi mano. Sarah y David intercambiaron una mirada antes de asentar. Estamos dentro, dijeron al unísono. Esa noche, mientras conducía a casa con Charlie, ahora oficialmente mío después de una llamada al refugio, sonreí al pensar en la cara que pondría Amanda cuando viera como su perfecta venganza se había convertido en mi mayor triunfo. El primer paso de mi plan se pondría en marcha mañana. Amanda creía que me había cuidado todo, pero no tenía idea de lo que estaba por venir. La exposición canina nacional estaba a solo 3 meses de distancia, y esta vez tenía más que una victoria en mente. Tenía justicia. El reloj marcaba las 6 de la mañana cuando comencé a preparar todo para la reunión. Lisa llegó temprano, trayendo consigo una pila de documentos legales y su laptop. Tenemos que ser metódicos con esto, dijo, organizando los papeles sobre la mesa de la cocina. Amanda no es estúpida. Intentará encontrar algún hueco legal. Ya tengo todo documentado, respondí, sacando mi propia carpeta. Cada mensaje, cada interacción desde que Max desapareció. A las 9 en punto, el timbre sonó. Sarah y David llegaron puntuales con sus hijos y Max. Los niños, Tommy de 8 años y Lucas de 6, entraron corriendo a la casa. Trajimos todos los documentos del refugio, dijo Sarah, colocando una carpeta gruesa sobre la mesa. Incluidas las grabaciones de seguridad. El gerente del refugio estaba furioso cuando supo la verdad. David sacó su tablet. También tengo algo interesante. Estuve investigando los registros públicos de Amanda. Hay un patrón de comportamiento similar en su pasado. ¿Qué encontraste? Pregunté, sirviendo café para todos mientras los niños jugaban con los perros en el jardín. 3 incidentes diferentes en los últimos 5 años, explicó David, mostrando los documentos. 2 relacionados con mascotas y uno con propiedad personal. En todos los casos, él tomó decisiones unilaterales sobre las posiciones.